evolution. Charles Darwin conceded that point, that the lack of evidence, and he said that in his writings. He said, not one change of species into another is on record. We cannot prove that a single species has been changed. Well, the Bible tells us that God made each animal after its kind. This is easily verified not only by the fossil record, but by modern scientific observation and experimentation. Animal breeders have successfully created new breeds of animals, but they have never changed one species into another. There is no proof. In fact, some of what was thought that might prove the theory of evolution has had to be thrown out. We are now about 120 years after Darwin, and knowledge of the fossil record has been greatly expanded. Ironically, we have seen fewer examples of evolutionary transition than we had in Darwin's time. By this I mean that some of the classic cases of Darwinian change in the fossil record, such as the evolution of the horse in North America, have had to be discarded or modified as a result of more detailed information. That's another quote from a scientist, not even just my opinion, but that's a scientific quote. Another problem, the irreducible complexity of living things. Here's a quote. By irreducibly complex, I mean a single system composed of several well-matched, interacting parts that contribute to the basic function, wherein the removal of any one of the parts causes the system to effectively cease functioning. An irreducibly complex biological system, if there is such a thing, would be a powerful challenge to Darwinian evolution. Irreducible complexity refers to something that is so intricate in its creation that it couldn't have evolved step by step. It had to have been made all at once. One example, among hundreds, is the woodpecker. Now listen to this, because this is amazing. The forces involved in the woodpecker's hammering away at trees are incredible for the suddenness with which the head is brought to a halt during each peck. Now, in other words, when the woodpecker is pecking away at a tree, there is such incredible stress to its head that it stops in between, but that stress is equivalent to 1,000 times the force of gravity. This is more than 250 times the force to which an astronaut is subjected in a rocket during liftoff. How is the woodpecker able to withstand such incredible forces? What prevents the woodpeckers from beating out their brains? The woodpecker survives this head bashing and these exceptional forces because God, in His wisdom, has designed the head, the beak, and the neck of a woodpecker in a special way. For starters, the Creator has greatly reinforced the woodpecker's skull with bone. This is necessary if the head is not going to break into pieces each time it hammers at a tree. He has given the woodpecker a stronger bill than most birds. I mean, it has to be strong enough to dig into a tree without folding up like an accordion. The bill is chisel-tipped, and when the woodpecker is chiseling away, there's a lot of sawdust. Well, normally in birds, the sawdust would enter the nostrils, but the woodpecker has been designed with these slit-like nostrils, and they're covered by very wiry feathers to prevent the sawdust from entering their nostrils. The beak and the brain itself have been cushioned against impact. In most birds, the bones of the beak are joined to the bones of the cranium, the part of the skull that surrounds the brain. But in the woodpecker, the cranium and the beak are separated by this sponge-like tissue that takes the shock each time the bird strikes its beak against a tree. The woodpecker's shock absorber is so good that scientists say that it's far better than any that humans have been able to invent. And for added protection to its brain, the woodpecker has special muscles that pull its brain case away from its beak every time it strikes a blow. But this is only part of the story. Because if the woodpecker's head were to twist even slightly while hammering the tree, the rotation of its head, combined with the force of the pecking, would tear away the bird's brain. But God, the ultimate designer, has created the woodpecker, this little bird, with superbly coordinated neck muscles to keep its head perfectly straight. That way the bird can withstand the enormous shock it inflicts on itself year in and year out, many thousands of times a day. Now, if that doesn't amaze you, I don't know what does. One of the greatest disagreements that Christians have with the theory of evolution is at this point. Evolution would say that the woodpecker developed these attributes at incredible odds because of the threats that nature posed to its existence. And the truth of creation says instead that the woodpecker was intricately designed to these exact specifications as an expression of the magnificence of God. Don't allow any theory, any science, and any belief to steal from you the truth that all you are and all that you see were wonderfully created